Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Board. I wore a special t-shirt today to discuss Valley of Tears. Israel, established way back when. Thought that would be cute, whatever. Let's have a conversation, and I'm going to apologize in advance for the sort of gloomy, overcast, rainy light. We're going to do the best we can. So, this video may not sit well with a lot of folks, but I'm just trying to rationalize and work through in my mind what I like and what I didn't like about my gameplay experience with Valley of Tears. I had a competitive, I guess more of a collaborative gameplay experience last week with Valley of Tears. And with three of us playing, and we played the Sinai scenario. I got through about 5, maybe 6 turns of that, I think, and then abandoned play there for hopefully a series of reasons that I'll get into. And then we picked up the Golan Heights scenario, played that to a point where we were satisfied with our experience with it, and we were done. And so the takeaway was for 2 out of the 3 players was a little bit of, I would call it dissatisfaction. We enjoyed the gameplay per se. We enjoyed the camaraderie. We had fun together. There was a little bit of laughing, a little bit of gnashing of teeth, et cetera, et cetera. But overall, there were some things that I'm still struggling with, right? I'm going to net it all out. So if you don't want to watch any more of this video, I would suggest to you that Valley of Tears from Multi-Man Publishing is a great module for you to pick up as a solo gameplay experience. If you want to explore the history and see why things happened the way they did, and explore Carl Fung's fantastic order of battle and historical research, clearly a passion project. And none of what I have to say going forward is a denigration of Carl's efforts. It's just an experience as a game player, looking as I do for certain things in games that make me want to play it again. So let's have a conversation about those things and have a look at some of the units perhaps, and some of the combat capability disparities that exist for both sides. And yet, once again, right, historically, this is one of those things where it's kind of like the Germans in World War II. It's like, what the frickin' hell were you thinking invading Russia, right? Number one. And then here, hey, Arabs in general, we'll call you Arabs in general. What the hell were you thinking poking the bear to a certain extent, right? With invasion by the Israelis, of the Israelis, and then what were the Israelis thinking, trying to crash back across the canal, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we never got back across the canal as the Israelis. We stopped play before then. But let's have a look at some of the things that are interesting here, and some of the things that are a little bit of a challenge to look at and to deal with as a player, because of the way the history is structured here, or represented. So and I'm not going to get into all the charts and tables and the turn track and how the air war works. I did have some questions and concerns about the wording in specific scenarios, and the units that are arriving in certain scenarios. And as of recording this video, I have not got answers back on any of those questions. I had one person tell me I was wrong, or that the 3 of us were wrong, in terms of the Golan Heights scenario receiving 8 F4Es on the first, at the beginning of the 7th of October turn, and they had 1 in the workshop, and they receive 8. That's 9. In the campaign scenario, I believe it's a different number of units. I'm not going to go drag that out right now and look at that, but that's what we saw. We agreed that given the massive, I almost said upgunning, the overpowering effect of the air in the air war, we cut the number of F4s to 4, basically splitting half between Golan Heights and half between Sinai. maps because we were only playing the Golan Heights scenario at that time, and it seemed a little ridiculous to have that many F4s when there were not that many in the total scenario. I don't believe it's a combined scenario. Anyway, so first things first, tactically, when you look at these maps, and this glare is probably going to be an issue. I'm going to get up here on the actual maps, and let's see if we can rest the camera. I have the maps folded over. These maps go back another map section, and I'll just hold that out for you so you can see, and then I'll fold it back, right? So you can see, good grief, there's a road all the way up there, right? And if we follow that logically, there's a road here, a bifurcating road here, another two roads here that allow us to bring reinforcements on. I'm going to try and. I've got another game set up underneath here, so I can't lay all this out properly for you. It just is what it is. There's another road back all the way back there, and then of course that one. Oh, and there goes the camera. Tasa here is a nice, interesting VP location, but it peels off to one side and goes back off the map onto map C there, right? Now, I ran the Sinai scenario forces for the Egyptians on the port. I'm going to have to tighten up my camera. Standby. All right, I'm back. Here we go. I think I've now got it so tight that we can't move it. So that's perfect. So a couple of things. The Egyptians start with some forces here. It's a very weak sort of port. They're kind of, they're more like a militia than anything else. They're 2 rated ARs, very, very weak, and there's no armor down here and no ATGMs or anything like that. So, but they've got this little port area, and as you can see, there's 2 VP locations with the Star of David here for the Israelis. So, this whole little section here where these little fortresses are, there's nominal little garrison units there, and the Egyptians can dig around and capture those to no effect whatsoever. You can, in fact, just leave them off. You don't really even need to bother about them, but you can take them out if you want to do something useful, if you have a full activation, I guess. The big issue for this port is that's 2 VPs. I think on the 8th of October, there's a task force that enters up on the far end of the map here, and it can book on down here, and it will slice through this set of guys here like a hot knife through butter, and you will immediately lose 2 VPs. Now, it's not going to happen in one turn. It will take 2 or 3 or 4 turns. I think a maybe a wise Israeli player will just roll. You could probably get by with not a full formation and send some guys this way and do things if you wanted. But you can send some units down here, stay in command. The Egyptians could stack units along here to slow things down and make, maybe you get lucky with some combats or some engagements that don't go well for the Israelis. But that's 2 VPs that you can do nothing about. You cannot stop that from happening. There is absolutely nothing you can do. So it's kind of frustrating as the Syrian and kind of funny as the Egyptians. They go down there and they take them, as the Israelis, and they take them and it's over, and then they can wander on down the Suez Canal highway here, I guess, and come into El Kantara or whatever it's called and kind of go for it from there. So you're thinking, Kevin, well, that doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, does it? Well, it can be fun if you want it to be fun. You pretend that these guys didn't just run away. So there's that. But what tends to happen is, historically, there's this sand belt that's line itemed out on the map. Can I show it to you without having to pick everything up again? Let me see if I can. You can see this little dotted line here. This is the sand belt, and that sand belt will give preferential treatment to one side or the other, depending on where you are. Obviously, if you're the Egyptians and you're inside this sand belt, You get some benefits from the air attacks that occur, and you will suffer less inside your sand belt than you do out here. For a standard airstrike, the Israelis will roll 3d6 to hit you. So God forbid you're a mechanized infantry unit in BTRs or anything like that, or foot sluggers. You're going to die out here. You're going to lose steps very, very quickly. It's all well and good. So what the Egyptians here can do, or will do, or did historically as well, move in, take these locations, hunker down, and sit there basically and take a ass smacking for the next X number of turns until you either finish the scenario or you stop. There are, other than this one VP I mentioned up over here, and the one over here off the outside of the SAM umbrella, and barring your efforts to try and exit 2 divisions, which is a physical and combat impossibility. There is absolutely no way that can happen based on our gameplay that I saw. So your only option is to sit here, keep feeding units into these VP hexes to keep control of as many of them as you can, and fight a war of attrition. The thing you have going for you as the Egyptians, of course, is that most of your armored units are 3 steps. Most of your infantry units are 6 steps. You know, the kind of the standard deal. Whereas a lot of the Israeli units are very powerful, but they might be just 1 or 2 steps, except for their infantry, for which they have very little of. So they became a bit of a target for me, trying to whittle them away. Sadly, though, fortunately for the where is the chart? Fortunately for the Israelis, they receive a decent amount of replacements every turn. So you're getting, a whack of armor every turn. So every unit you eliminate, you're basically, every step you take out, you're going to be replacing at least 1 and up to 5 every turn. Same goes infantry, not so much. You need a 5 or a 6. So that's why I kind of focused on them. But you have to kind of take out the armor as well, or attempt to take out the armor, because of the engagement zones. Those 2 hex engagement zones that force stops and engagements, they can really bog up the map. And given you only have 3, like in this particular area, we have 4 avenues of approach, basically. It's very difficult to move anywhere else other than on the roads. So you're really stuck on rails here, managing to try and push up. And it really doesn't take a lot to stagger step some Israelis with a bunch of tanks, and let them take exchange fire with each other and have a fine old time. The Egyptians are going to suffer greatly. You need to be prepared to bleed them white. I guess you can kill off the entire formation. No one runs away in this series. So we went through this exercise, and we did make a couple of mistakes with the rules that really just accelerated the Israeli experience. They were wiping out units very quickly because of an error we made with the number of attacks by fire or barrages that can be done on a hex and given turn and all that sort of fun stuff, given activation, I should say. So nevertheless, rather than us getting to the end result in 12 turns, we got to it in 6 just because of that mistake. And we looked back over it, and we didn't think while it was real, it was a real mistake. Net results would have been the same, just would have taken a little bit longer. So for me, when I'm playing this, you're looking for opportunities. Can I do something tactically different? Can I find a way to get around these guys? Can I maneuver? Can I do something different? And you're hampered by the Egyptian command and control system, which has horrible movement rates for some of the non-armored HQs. 2 movement points, I think it is. I'd have to pull the counters and check it, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 movement points. That might have been on a partial, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Let's see these HQs. So the armored guys have 8 movement points, but where is, that's the mech had 8. Where did I see the dude that had 2? Here we go. 19th Infantry, 2 movement points. 16th Infantry, 2 movement points, 2 movement points. So you're not using those to do maneuver, but you do want to use those guys to try and push forward and take out the Israeli infantry. We just had a little bit of a hard time with it. So you really need to hunker down here, go into PD, sit there and take it like a boss. It's a smack in the mouth every turn. You're going to get bombarded by air, hit by arty, and then shot at. Just Israelis sit back with engagement shots and plink away at you. And why can they do that? They can do that because they're starting off with something like where are the Israeli guys, so I can be specific here. An 8 and a 4. So they're starting out with 12 as their baseline number. They're going to be rolling, and you're defending at a 7-3. So you might you're starting out with a +2, or even worse, a 6-2 here. There's 10s here. There are no 11s and 12s, I don't think. There might actually be 1 or 2, but 7-3s. As you can see, these ratings are terrible. Here you go, 8-3. There's an 11. For 25th Tank, they were a half decent unit, but they just got chopped up pretty hard as well. You end up with, by the time you put in double objective zones and all the other stuff that goes into those mods, you roll an average of a 7. You're gonna inflict losses upon the Egyptians at a fairly consistent clip, doing 2 engagements a turn per armored unit on the map. It's a bloodbath. It's a smoking panorama of blown T-55s and T-62s. It's pretty classic to see happen. My dog is walking around, pardon for the background noise. So, we kind of got frustrated with that, and we moved on to because there was really not a whole lot the Egyptians could do other than cross the river, which you do in the first turn, cross the canal in the first turn, and then get yourself set up to hold on for as long as you can. Now, we then moved on to the Golan Heights scenario, and this was a little bit more interesting because you start all the way back here, and you're going to advance up. Both sides, we once again split the armed forces in half, but we were looking to try and, exit off the map here to get 2 divisions off the map. We made really good progress in here, pushed in deeply here, still stayed in our SAM net, so we're pretty safe. But then I took an entire a mech division, I believe, and either a brigade or a tank division this way, and then tagged in around the Sea of Galilee and was looking to try and exit the map off here. But once again, timing's everything. You've got that has to happen within the first couple of turns, so it becomes literally yet again a mission impossible opportunity. I think we ended up with this scenario. It's 4 turns. We played the thing out. We called it a draw, for want of a better discussion. By the time we looked at VPs and things like that, I think the Syrians may have ended up with 1 more VP or whatever the case may be. So a little bit of a bloodbath on both sides. The balance of play, once again, with all these sticky engagement zones, just bogged down the gameplay. I ignored all the concerns and issues around not command, but MSRs and ghost trains and all that sort of stuff, and pushed my HQs and my forces and getting mixed units just as far forward as fast as I could while there were very, very few units, and we actually ended up capturing this whole zone here, and then we got pushed back to around here somewhere. and got bogged down. Then all the air came on and it was game over, right? With very, very few Israeli air steps lost. I think in this particular scenario, there may have been 2 or 3. That's about it. No Israeli air unit was ever eliminated. Same in the Sinai. More air steps there were damaged, but no VPs accumulated for losses there at all. What am I saying with all this? I think was a great example of how BCS can be played in the modern era. I think the air war here was heavily overpowered for the Israelis, probably more so maybe just from my gut feel and from a little historian buddy who was playing with us, a little more upgunned perhaps than what was historically, just based on the die rolling that went on. That's always a factor, right? And then I think the system is held together well. I just don't know this scenario is particularly these scenarios are particularly interesting. They're great for solo historical exploration, as I said at the very beginning of the video. But for competitive play, maybe you play both sides and swap, but there are no choices to be made. There are no significant choices to be made. There's no tactical nuance. There's no operational end arounds or breakthroughs and another guy punches through. We tried both ways. We tried alternating chits and we tried chit pull. It really was I almost want to say tedious, just because you know what's going to happen. You know the Israelis are going to use their tanks to shoot standoff at you, and they have 12 or 13 on the docket to start. You have 8, 9, or 10 to start. They're rolling with a +3 or +4, and life's going to be hard as a Syrian or as an Egyptian. And it was just a little bit frustrating, I think. Now, the thing that I think I like about what I played here was the opportunity to explore the history and see, based on Carl's research and everything that went on, what happened and why. And he exposed some history that I was unaware of, which was pretty cool. But I've just found the effort to be pretty mechanical and pretty much history on rails for me. There are a lot of things that are going against the Egyptians and the Syrians, and for all very good historical reasons. But their airstrike capability, for instance, if they're lucky if they get 2. And thrilled if they get 4 strikes in a turn. So the game played okay. It's interesting if you're into this period. I think you got to be into it to want to go through the exercise. So that's Valley of Tears. That's the probably ranking for me. I've yet to get with the current rules last Blitzkrieg to the table, but we'll do that this year, I hope. When it comes to Bulge time, that will be a game I'll be playing. I'll be looking forward to doing that. And then I've been told that I need to play Panzer's Last Stand, some of the smaller scenarios, so that may come out after that. I've pretty much sold off most of my other BCS stuff, and I'm sort of whittling this down. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this. I may punch it and play it myself solo and see if I can come up with some alternative strategies or tactics, particularly in the Sinai. But I don't see it. I mean, I spent a lot of time looking at the map when we had downtime, when the guys were off playing other games, and I didn't find an opportunity to be successful as the Egyptians. And as the Israelis, I've just got to sit back, shoot from a distance, drop arty on you, drop air on you, whittle you away, and then take enough VPs away from you to the point where in the long game of the campaign, I can then swing across the canal and call it done. Anyway, long video, sorry for that, but it's a fascinating effort, and we'll leave it at that. All the best. Roll dice.